Hello everyone, it is I, Republic Studs, and I want to cover something that I thought was really interesting that recently happened, and it really kind of ticked me off. But before we get into it, I'm going to ask you all to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. It'll help me out a ton, and to incentivize you even further to smash the like button, I'm going to give you a picture of a Phase 2 Cody, because we've always wanted a Phase 2 Cody, and you know, if you want one, then you should hit the like button. It'll help me out a ton. Please do it. Thank you. So it is pretty obvious that there has been a seeming disconnect between the LEGO Star Wars designers over in Denmark or wherever they are, and the LEGO fans around the world, and this is especially true when it comes to LEGO Star Wars. And I could give so many different examples, from like when they get rid of the minifigure promos, which were beloved by everyone, and then they start doing these weird droid builds, and then they start doing these weird like mini-scale builds when everyone was perfectly fine with the minifigures and loved those, and have been asking for them to return, and the LEGO designers have kind of been reluctant to do so. You know, getting other things like making a Phase 2 Commander Cody, which has been something we requested. And then another big thing is when they keep making all these original trilogy sets and remaking X-Wings and TIE Fighters, and all these things we have gotten loads of, instead of getting other different sets that we would much rather see. And they've been getting slightly better at it, but it's still not great, and this recent situation just kind of, you know, pushed me over the edge, and I'm usually not one to get very angry at them. I try to be as fair as possible, and this is the one thing that really kind of ticked me off, and I think it's something LEGO really needs to improve upon. Now, before I say anything further, I would like to read a quote from one of the LEGO Marvel designers. So this is what he said in reference to the new Daily Bugle set, which is a beautiful set. If I was a Marvel fan, I'd love that one. Comes with loads of minifigures, it's packed. I know it's a completely different from what we're going to be talking about. But here's what he had to say. I made a list around 60 long of when I started of minifigures that I wanted to make. This was my dream Marvel set. Daredevil is my favorite, so I made it happen. He was the first on my list above Spider-Man. So he's talking like, there were like 60 minifigures he wanted to put in this set. Like, he's like, these are just all the characters I'd love to see. He obviously had to narrow it down, because that's unreasonable. But all he was thinking about, like, you know, these characters are awesome. Basically, with the UCS Gunship, when it was put up for a fan vote, LEGO asked us, hey, what minifigures would you guys like to see? I know on mine, I put in Captain Rex and 501st Troopers. Remember, at the time, we didn't know the 501st Battle Pack was happening. And I've always wanted a Captain Rex. I did not own even a custom Captain Rex at that time. And, you know, it would just seem kind of obvious, so that's what I put. But I know pretty much everyone they wanted Jedi Bobs and Commander Codys and things along those lines. And what we ended up getting was 2 figures. Now, if that wasn't disappointing enough, because 2 figures is pretty disappointing, because we have in the past gotten UCS sets where they used to come with 5, 6. You know, even things like Ewok Village used to come with like 15. And it's gone down over the years. They've become way more focused on the display model aspect only, and not the minifigures, which, you know, kind of stinks, and I think that's most evident with sets like the Star Destroyer, which only came with 2 Imperial officers. Like, they didn't even do a Darth Vader. They just did an Imperial officer, which is kind of sad, you know, and it just kind of evolved that way, and these 2 figures they got, I think that was what made people even more upset. And the 2 figures we got were obviously Mace Windu and the Clone Trooper Captain. Now, first off, if they were going to choose 2 minifigures, there were so many they could have done. They could have done Yoda. He was somewhat relevant to the gunship. You see him, it's pretty iconic for him to sit on the gunship and stand on the gunship and it flies around. They could have included a regular Phase 1 clone trooper. Those were at least on the gunship. And I think most obviously the one they should have included was the clone trooper pilots. The clone trooper pilots, you know, pilot the Republic gunship. And the ones they've made in the past, like in the 2013 Gunship, were not entirely accurate. The ones that we've gotten in the 2008 Gunship were not entirely accurate. And this would have been a perfect situation for us to get a accurate-looking clone trooper pilot, as well as maybe we could have squeezed something else in there. It didn't even have to be that. And there are technically even 4 seats for clone trooper pilots. And I know you're not supposed to sit figures in, but just saying. And you know, that on top of Commander Cody not coming in the set, which is what people requested, it was just overall a extremely disappointing thing. Now I am going to read you a quote from the interview Brix Studios had with the designers on the recent call with them, or on the recent video when they announced the gunship, and it is the following. LEGO's the Star Wars designers. We put 2 minifigures in for good measure, because people expect it. Let's be honest. All most people remember from the movie is that there was a clone trooper with some yellow markings on the helmet piloting the vehicle. First of all, I'm going to debunk this statement, because right off the bat, if someone is going to be saying 350 $350 US on a Lego set, a plastic toy Lego set. They are darn well going to know the difference between a pilot and a captain. Most people are buying this because they have a niche, they have an excitement, they like Lego, or generally they like Star Wars. They are going to know what it looks like. They know the difference between a clone captain and a clone pilot. And I know this is how Lego works in their mind with clone troopers. They just think, oh, they're all the weird colored stormtroopers. That's what Lego thinks, and that's what most like boomers think. You know, that's just a general thing. I know when they explain to people, like, you know, what clone troopers are, because it's very hard to explain the markings. You just say they're stormtroopers with colors. They don't actually understand the fan community in there. There's an entire section of the community, especially like I've seen on Instagram and everything, that makes loads of custom minifigures. There's an entire market of it. Just ask my friend Jonak Toys. He's making very good money solely off of selling little paper sheets with Lego clone troopers on them. Now, I think it's another thing, and the other thing I seriously have a problem with here, and there's so much I have a problem with this one quote, it's they made only 2 figures because people expect it. We don't expect it. We expect to have, like, more than that. Why should we only expect 2 minifigures? Give me a good, solid reason why we should only expect 2. I know we've gotten it in the past, but I think you'd go above and beyond people's expectations if you actually took that step, if you actually went ahead and, you know, made these more awesome figures. I mean, these 2 would have been fine if you put 4 more figures in the set. That's just a matter of fact. And I think the real thing is that Lego just kind of looks down on their customer. They don't think that they're actually caring that much about these certain details, which sucks. And I will be the first to admit, you know, fans can be overly critical. Last year, there was huge problems. Like, some people went a little crazy. Like when they had the wrong box art, you know, they went mad. When Obi-Wan Kenobi had markings on here. And that's what I also don't get. Like, do they just expect Lego fans to not get upset over, like, it just being some yellow clone trooper that showed up in the set? Like, dude, people were getting upset that you left Obi-Wan Kenobi's marks on his shirt in the General Grievous Starfighter. Of course they're gonna be upset by this. Like, this is just an entirely different figure. And it's honestly ridiculous. Now, before I go any further, again, the Gunship is a absolutely gorgeous set. I think it is one of the best Lego Star Wars sets in modern era ever. Like, it's really good. The figures are just so incredibly lackluster, and I think it's really disappointing, because if Lego's going to continue to do these with UCS sets, I just think they should do a little better. Now, I think someone else pointed out, and I did agree with this as well, is that when you make these expensive UCS sets have all these exclusive figures, it's a lot harder for people to buy them. I understand that completely. Because there's kind of a two-sided coin of that. Because 1, you want to feel like you're getting good value out of the set, and 2, it also sucks for people who can't afford the set. And I get both of those. You know, I fall somewhere in between. I think if you include the characters in other places, then that would be great. Like, if they put a Phase 2 Cody in the set, I'd be good with that. If they put Phase 2 Cody in a cheaper set, I'd be good with both of those options. If they did both of those, I'd be very happy. But I just think it's overall a disappointment. You know, maybe give them a little marking on the new one. I really don't care. Overall, I think, in conclusion, Lego could just do better on this mark. It's really disappointing that they went ahead and said, oh, we think that fans won't notice, and we think that fans are just not going to care, because I think we do. We spend a lot of money with your product, and we like your product, and we just want you to do better. And, you know, I hate to be that guy, but invoke that phrase, only the best is good enough. And I think that's really what it comes down to. You could have done better, and this was not the best in terms of the figure selection. And, you know, the whole thing of Lego designers just kind of scoffing at the community is a little disappointing. And I think as a community, we also have to be more responsible. The community can be very loud and very aggressive sometimes. And that really will turn off the designers. So, like, we don't even want to consider you. You'll be mad at us no matter what we do. Be appreciative for what they do good. And, you know, you can raise your concerns when they do something bad. I think if you have a well-measured response, I think, like this video, then it'll be a lot better. And I encourage all Lego influencers, YouTubers, fans that are watching, instead of going on their comment section and saying, why wasn't there a Phase 2 Cody? Just be a little more measured in your response. Because I think when you're more measured, they're more likely to take you seriously. And I think that's a thing you should seriously consider going into the future, and I encourage all my fans to do the same. With that said, I'm going to ask you all again to smash that like button. I will see you all in the next one. Hope you enjoyed this new angle. I love this new angle, by the way. See you all in the next one. Peace out. Stay awesome.